Good morning, everyone. This is M. Pawan from CSC Data Science Group D section from IRE College. Now I am here to explain you one concept in Python programming language. Our our concept is continuous statement. Now we are going to learn how to use continuous statement in loops and how it is useful without getting an error, and what is the syntax of this continuous statement and some more examples of it. From this we can learn where and how we can use this continuous statement and how it is useful for us. Now we will move to our next slide to learn how to use this continuous statement and what is the syntax of it. Continuous statement. First, we will learn what is the classic definition of this continuous statement. Here, continuous statement is a loop control statement that forces to execute the iteration of the loop while skipping the rest of the code inside the loop for the current iteration only, such that when the continuous statement is executed in the loop, the code inside the loop following the continuous statement will be skipped for the current iteration, and the next iteration of the loop will begin. From this, we are clearly identifying that the continuous statement is used in the loop control statements that actually forces to execute the next iteration of the loop. Means the current iteration where we are using the continuous statement will be skipped, or it won't come in our output. Means when we are running a code in a loop, we will, in loops generally the iteration is happening. In that iteration process, when we are using continuous statement at a specified position and we are with a specific value on it, then the iteration will be skipped at that specified position. Means the skipping, while skipping the rest of the code inside the loop for the current iteration, means that current iteration output will be skipped, otherwise it won't get in the output. Only such means when the continuous statement is executed in the code in the loop, the code inside the loop following the continuous statement will be skipped for the current iteration, and the next iteration of the loop will begin. Okay, we will move to next slide. Usage of continuous statements means what is the helpfulness or what is the help usage of the continuous statement. We will learn this. Loops in Python automates and repeats the task in an efficient manner, but sometimes there may arise a condition where we want to execute the loop completely, skip an iteration or ignore that condition. Means in loops, Python automates and repeats the task in an efficient manner, which I told you before only. Means in loops, we are getting a repeat of task in loop till it ends the loop. It will repeat the task what we are specified in that loop. But sometimes that may raise a condition where you want to execute the loop completely. Means with, if we need a specific values with some skipping of the iteration in the loops, we use the continuous statement by to skip an iteration or ignore that particular condition. We will use continuous statement. These can be done by loop control statements, which I am telling you from the beginning. Continuous statement is a loop control statement. By the what we are telling, the skipping of iteration or ignoring that condition will be done only by the loop control statements. Continue is a type of loop control statement that can alter the flow of the loop. Means in loop control statements, we are having number of control statements, but in this one of the major is loop control statement. In this we are, which we are learning is loop control statements, continuous statement. These can, for skipping an iteration or ignore that particular condition, we are using control statement, which will be a part of loop control statements. These can be done by loop control statements. Continue is a type of loop control statement that can alter the flow of the loop. Next, the syntax of the continue statement is continue. It was very simple and easy to remember and know how to use of it. Means that there will be no much syntax for this. The syntax is very simple, and that only in the continue. This continue will be used in the loop condition after we are specifying which iteration to be removed or skipped or ignored. That after the condition is specified, then we can use the continue statement. Then if we print the output, then we will get the iterations with skipping of this which we wanted iteration by using this continue statement. Continue statement is more helpful and very useful for us to skip an iteration in a loop. This was the syntax of the continue statement. It was very simple, and that is continue, nothing than this. Next, we will move on to next slide. Flowchart of continue statement means how to use the continue statement. We need to know we will need to know this, and in a flowchart manner we will learn this. First, loop test expression means what we want in our iterations. Means we need to define the loop, what we need in that loop, what are the possibilities and what we need for the perfect output. Then loop test expression, then condition to continue next iteration means what we are specifying to skip the iteration, one of the skipping iteration, condition to continue next iteration. Then if it is true, then it will follow to continue and go back to the loop test expression. Means it won't print that particular output. Then if it is fails, execute remaining part of the loop. Means if it is not the specified iteration which we are in the loop iterations, then it will continue to execute the remaining part of the loop, and we will get the output according to that wise. And this also will return to the loop test expression. But for this false statement, we will get the execution of the loop and we can find the output. But when it came true, then there it will applied by continue statement, and we can't find the output for this. Means it will skip that particular iteration, or it will skip that particular value which we won't be able to see in our output. This is the main uses of a continue statement, which is the basic and the very first need we need in our Python programming. One of the basic needs we need means we need particular outputs in all the outcomes. Means we need to specify some we know at that particular point of time. The continue statement is very helpful for us. We can easily use this continue statement. Next, example. Continue statement in Python means we will see how a continue statement will work out in a Python programming by seeing one example of it. Consider the situation when you need to write a program which prints the number from 1 to 10 but not 6. It is specified that you have to do this using a loop, and only one loop is allowed to use. Here comes the usage of continue statement. What we can do here is we can run a loop from 1 to 10, and every time we have to compare the value of the iterator with 6. If it is equal to 6, we will use the continue statement to continue to the next iteration without printing anything. Otherwise, we will print the value. Means in our example, what he is trying to say is we need to print numbers from 1 to 10, from exactly from 1 to 10, but we don't want 6 in our output. Means we need to skip that iteration. Means it is specified that you have to do using loop. Means you must and should use loop, and that only one loop you should need to use. Means you should not allow to use more than one loop, or you need other kind of looping statements. Means you need to use one loop, and in that particular condition you can use the continue statement to skip that one particular iteration called 6. Further, we are easily capable of doing this. Loop is allowed to use, means the usage of continuous statement, what we can do whether is we can run a loop for 1 to 10, and every time we have to compare the value of the iterator with 6. If it is equal to 6, then it will becomes true, and the continuous statement will be executed at that particular point, and we will skip that iteration and print the other letters. Now below is the implementation of the above idea, means we will execute that and we will see what will be the result of it. Means in this, first we need to give the input. What is our input? Python program to demonstrate continuous statement loop from 1 to 10. Means in our Python programming, we need to show the output as 1 to 10 with skipping of one element in this. For that, we need to use one looping statement and one continuous statement. By using these both of, we need to find the output as possible as we can. Means in any kind of loops, we are using so many statements like pass statement, continue, break statement. All these are loop controlling statement. In this, one of the basic and very useful statement is continuous statement, which we are using in our programming. Means for this, you are writing here the code as for I in range of 1 to 11. Means we are using for loop in here. We have loops concept in that we have two loops, while loop, for loop. We can use both the loops anywhere. Here we can use while loop or for loop, anything. But for loop is more preferred than while loop, as it is understandable more easily than while loop. For that, we are using here for I in range 1 to 11. Means for 1 to 11, we are getting the range. You know the range function. You know how the range works. For this, it will come from 1 to last but one digit. Means it will continue to print in a loop for I in range, means for I in each value of this 1 to 11. It will print from 1 to 11 except 11, because the range function works as from 1 to n minus 1 values it will print. It won't print n value, 1 to n values. If it is in a range 1 to n, it won't print n value. It print 1 to n minus 1 value. For I in range means for I, which we print I means all the values in our range. It will likely to print all, even what we are getting. Next, we will see what is the remaining syntax of our example. Next, after that, while we specified one loop, then we are using if condition. Means if condition is also one of the decision control statements, and these are decision control statements. If else, if else, all these are decision making controlling statements. Means when we are specifying here one condition, then if it is true, it will print one of the output. Otherwise else, it will print other output. Then here we are having if I is equals to 6, continue to next iteration without printing. Means if I is equal to 6, continue. Here we are using the continue statement, which we are telling from the beginning. Here, this is our continue statement, where we are telling from the beginning how to use our continue statement. Means first we specified a loop, and then we specified some condition for that. I is equal to 6. Then only we used the continue statement. Now here within the loop, the continue statement will be executed. If the I value becomes 6, then it will skip that iteration 6, and it will don't print that output when it becomes 6. That's the main reason why we are using continue statement here. It will won't print the value of 6, and it will print the remaining values. Means see, after if I is equal to 6, continue, else otherwise print the value of I. Print I means it will print the values from 1 to 10, and here using print I comma end is equal to nothing is there. I end is equal to space. Means it will print in a horizontal row. It won't print in a vertical column. For the horizontal row, we are using here end and colons. For that, we will get the output from here, but we won't get that 6 value. Now we will see the output for this, then we can understand easily. See here. Here we are getting an output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here we are missing one element, that is 6. Means we are getting 1 to 10 elements. What is our question is to print 1 to 10 elements. We are getting 1 to 10 elements, but in our question is specified that we don't want to get 6 in our output. Is here 6 is there? Not there. Means we are getting what the exact output our customer, our user need to get. Means we are not getting here 6. That is our first need. Means only because of the continue statement we are getting here what our specified output is. Means we are getting the 1 to 10 values, but we are unable to get the 6 value. This is the first and best uses of our continue statement. Now here we have some note on that. The continue statement can be used with any other loop, also like while loop. In a similar way, it is used with for loop above. Means I said you before that we can use these both. There are the two things in while loop and for loop. The continuous statement can be used in any loop. Means first in this we used in for loop, but we can use the same in while loop also. There will be no problem of using continuous statement. Means the continuous statement had nothing specified of using some only for loop or only in while loop or only in somewhere. It can be used in loops anywhere, whether it is while loop or for loop. When it is used, the first and foremost use of this condition is it will skip that iteration. As possible as it will skip that iteration without any fail. Means see, in our output we can clearly find that we are don't getting 6 here. That is the first thing we should need to know is it's getting nothing of it. Means in while loop or for loop it will give the same output without any changes. That was the first and best usage of our while loop. This is good and very best usage of a while using the looping statements to skip an iteration. More than this, this is the simplest way for using this. Means the syntax is very simple and the operation is also very simple, and we can easily get our output without any complicated issues. So I'm thinking this will be very useful for everyone, and I'm hoping that everyone understanded this without any fail. And I feel that everything is being good for you. I hope you all understand my concept, and thank you for bearing me this much time, and thank you for giving this me golden opportunity to interact with you, to explain this with you. And I hope you all understand my concept, and I'm very glad to be honored to explain this with for you. Thank you all.